Alrighty. The Gunfighters was the seventh serial of the third season of Doctor Who, first broadcast in four parts from the 30th of April to the 21st of May 1966. Now, before you all stop wondering if I'm going to keep this accent up for the entirety of the video, I'm not. I can't keep it going for very long, and I'm sure it's deeply offensive to somebody somewhere, so I'm just going to stop there. But I also didn't think I'd have another classic Doctor Who review to post before 2021, but I was able to get two new classic Doctor Who stories over Christmas, and the first of those was The Gunfighters, as I just said, the seventh serial of the third season, first broadcast in 1966. In this particular story, the first Doctor, played by William Hartnell, and his companions Stephen Taylor, played by Peter Purves, and Dodo Chaplet, played by Jackie Lane, they land in the town of Tombstone in Arizona in... Actually, I don't exactly know when this episode's set, I can't remember, but anyway, they end up landing in Tombstone, Arizona at the OK Corral. The main reason that they land there is that the Doctor has a toothache, so he goes off to find a suitable dentist, which turns out to be in the form of the local dentist Doc Holliday, played by Anthony Jacobs. But it seems they've come at rather a crucial time, as Doc Holliday is being hunted down by the Clantons. Pa Clanton, played by Reed de Ruin, and his sons Ike Clanton, played by William Herndl, Phineas Clanton, played by Maurice Good, and Billy Clanton, played by David Cole. And namely it's because Doc Holliday previously shot another member of their clan, so they want him killed, and the Doctor and his friends have to figure out a way to protect him. And in doing so, they end up meeting with a load of Wild West characters, including, well, as I just said, the Clantons, Doc Holliday, and Marshall Wyatt Earp, played by John Alderson, as well as his brother, Virgil Earp, played by Victor Kirin, Big Nose Kate, who's Doc Holliday's kind of girlfriend, played by Sheena Marsh, and another Wild West outlaw, Johnny Ringo, played by Lawrence Payne. Now, this is, of course, a story playing off the famous historical event of the fights at the OK Corral. And when I watched this story through, I honestly thought that Tombstone was another place that Doctor Who had made up for the show. So, I don't know, it just sounded like it would be. I mean, when I found out Ledworth wasn't real, I spent years believing Ledworth was an actual small town somewhere in England. But then I found out it wasn't, and I thought the same was true of Tombstone, Arizona. But apparently Tombstone, Arizona is a real place. I'm sorry for not believing it was. And I think I've read in the blurb of this story that they were trying to do a kind of Doctor Who spaghetti western, similar to the old cowboy films you should see in the 50s. And for a TV budget, this, I think, actually plays out pretty well. It plays out like an old Wild West film. I mean, I haven't seen that many kind of classic old Wild West films. I've only seen kind of bits and pieces of modern interpretations, but this feels like it would be a good one. I mean, you got classic characters trying to do good, other classic characters trying to do bad, and then people just caught in the crossfire in the middle. And as I said, the story plays out in four parts, and this was at a time when each part would also get its own title. So, while this is all lumped under one story, titled The Gunfighters, it does also have its four parts do also have their own titles. Those being A Holiday for the Doctor, Part 1, Don't Shoot the Pianist for Part 2, Johnny Ringo for Part 3, and The OK Corral for Part 4. So, while I do prefer them all to be kind of lumped under a title of, say, Genesis of the Daleks Part 1 through to Part 6, it is kind of nice that they did try and think of individual episodes kind of around that time, which I didn't think plays out very nice. One other thing that I would like to say that I do like about this particular story is that, well, I don't know who's doing it, it might be Sheena Marsh doing it, but they had it for this particular story that between each scene change, they have a woman singing. and that woman is singing a song called The Last Chance Saloon, which I can't remember kind of every single verse that she goes through for each, and it does change every time, but I think there's one part of it where she goes, when there's blood in the sawdust at the Last Chance Saloon. It's a nice song, and it does do well kind of changing from one scene to another, so when you hear that music, you do know that they're about to have a scene change. So, yeah, I think that's a nice little touch, and it does build more on the kind of classic Western feel. So, for Doctor Who in the 60s, this is actually, I think, a pretty good story. I personally wasn't really looking for this one, as I personally thought it was lost. It was one of the lost stories, but no, it is around, and I do think it's a pretty good one. I don't know if it's necessarily my favourite of William Hartnell stories I've seen. I mean, I think I'd still. This is the sixth William Hartnell story I've been able to collect, and so far, I still think my favourite of his is the Dalek invasion of Earth. But, you know what? From what I saw of the Gunfighters, I think it's a pretty good one. But I was able to do that, so the Gunfighters, I've got another classic Who story coming up in the works that I may get out before 2021 arrives, I might not. We'll have to wait and see. Also got a new Doctor Who hoodie, as you can see, which I absolutely love. And also got a new Doctor Who graphic novel, A Little Help from My Friends, which is a crossover story between the 13th Doctor and the 10th Doctor, which I might end up doing a review of. I don't know, I'll wait and see if I really have a lot to say about it. I mean, I've read it through and I really enjoy it, so I really do want to make a review of it, but we'll wait and see on that. But from my quick review of the Gunfighters, I think it's a good story. It shows Doctor Who could do a Western very well, and they managed to create a pretty good story around that particular event. I mean, from what I've heard, the gunfight at the OK Corral isn't quite how history portrays it. I mean, supposedly only actually one person at the actual OK Corral actually had a gun, and it was more just a kind of disagreement about a robbery that they all did together. So, but history is written by the winners, and if it means that we get to have stories like the Gunfighters, I'm okay with that. So, Doctor Who the Gunfighters, I'd say it's a good episode or a good story that you should check out from the first Doctor. Anyway, the next classic story that I'm going to be reviewing at some point, maybe in 2020, maybe in 2021, will be The Awakening. Anyway, until then, see ya.